Welcome back to the Patrick Reagan Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network and News Talk 98.7 WOKI. This segment starting off, I had something I was wanting to get into, but before I get to that, I want to talk a little bit about this shooting in the airport in Los Angeles real quickly, since it's been on my mind a lot. Now, don't worry, we'll get back to what we're talking about here, but I've been asked about this shooting over and over since the news came out. I've also addressed this type of thing before, but I'll hit on it again here real quickly. This is just a dumb move by an ignorant person. If he's truly against what this government is doing, what the TSA is doing, this is exactly the wrong way to go about making your point. All he did was give the hysterical liberals and pro-government types more ammunition, not to use a pun, but more ammunition to use against the citizens of this nation. See, these anti-government people are crazy. They're running around shooting up the airport. They're trying to kill government people. We need to ban guns. We need to ban and censor this type of thinking. Of course, when the government overreacts and kills some innocent people, either in this country or abroad, none of these same people make any fuss about that. They aren't calling for the government to give up all of its weapons. They aren't calling the government crazy and out of control. You know, and let's just be honest. In all honesty, what is the difference between what this gunman did in LAX, in the airport, or the government killing innocent people around the world every day? The difference is we see it on television. We have news reports about what happened in Los Angeles. Our government killing a bunch of faceless people at a wedding party in Pakistan doesn't matter. But a lone gunman killing people in this country in an airport in Los Angeles does. Are we not all human? Are we not all not deserving? Are we not all deserving the same rights to life and liberty? In case you're wondering, we are. It doesn't matter if we live in America or Zimbabwe. All men are created equal with certain inalienable rights. Or so that's what we profess to believe in this country. No, killing another person in cold blood is never the answer. Not here, not in Pakistan, not anywhere. I don't care if it's a government or a lone gunman. No one deserves to be put to death simply because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. We ask ourselves why we're having more killings and more murders by crazy people at random places. There are a lot of answers. One of the main ones is drugs, the prescription drugs a lot of these people are on. But I think another overriding principle is they're only following in the footsteps of their government, or governments, since other countries do this as well. If our government is killing people right and left for questionable reasons, is it any wonder when some of the imbalanced people of a population, they don't see any problem with it as well? When we glorify and celebrate these killings on the news, when our president actually brags about being in on the decisions on what unsuspecting person gets the axe across the neck somewhere in this world, how can we glorify all of this violence and killing by our government and not expect the citizens to become jaded and unsympathetic to the rights of other humans? This is what we're fighting against on this show as well. This whole effort by governments to dehumanize us all. This wholesale disregard of basic human rights of everyone all around the world, not just by our government, but by all governments around the world. It's way past time we start doing something about this. We see the symptoms of this disease. They're all around us. We simply have to stop our government in its tracks and get it turned around before it goes too much farther down the tubes. Yes, it's a problem in other countries as well. But when the citizens of England and France and Germany and Pakistan and India and Australia, people from all around the world, when they see the strides we start making in our country, that will embolden them to make the changes in their countries as well. It's like a lot of things. America is going to have to lead the way. And I really can't think of a better time to get started until right now, or like right now. But I wanted to get that in here about that shooting because I've had so many questions about that. Getting on, let's see, we got a few minutes here. I'm going to try to hit this before we get out of this break here, or out of this segment, and we come up on the break. I guess kind of along these same lines, have you ever sat down and thought about how much we're putting up with on these encroachments on our freedom and liberty? This treating you as a child who can't take care of themselves. Now, take, for instance, and it's something we've talked about a lot on this show, you're driving on a public street or the interstate. Well, you can't be trusted to drive according to how the government thinks you should be driving. So they post this number and define a speed limit, and you're not supposed to drive above that speed. And if you do, the government will penalize you. Not that you've endangered anyone, not that you've caused an accident. You see, you notice there is no victim in this crime. You're only driving on a public road, a road you paid for, a road your tax dollars support. And you're driving on this public road at a velocity that violates the government's established rule. Now, how is that a crime? It's a violation of a government rule, that's it, nothing more. And you say, well, they're speeding, they could cause a wreck, and that affects me. So you're telling me the person who is able to drive over the speed limit and have complete control of their vehicle is more dangerous than the elderly person driving 5 miles per hour under the speed limit and can't keep their car in their lane. Can't hardly see past 6 cars in front of them, let alone hear an emergency siren. And some people just can't control the vehicle at the speed limit. Does that mean they should be driving much slower? We have a minimum speed on most interstates. Well, if they can't drive that speed safely, they're endangering your life there too. If this was a critical problem, then people would be demanding something be done. No, it's about revenue, and that's what it comes down to. If someone causes you to wreck, you can sue them. We have a victim. You're entitled to take that person to court and have a judge hear your case. You see, we've become this nation of laws when we used to be a nation of justice. Another example, if you want to abuse your body, you must do it in a manner approved by government. If you're doing cocaine, marijuana, or crack, you can't use those drugs because not approved ways of abusing your body. But liquor, cigarettes, even caffeine, now you can abuse those drugs. They're approved. So how is that justice? And here's the short answer, it's not. You can drink yourself to death and the government couldn't care less. But if you take cocaine and overdose, well, the government still doesn't care, but should you be caught doing it, you'll be put in a cage until you can learn to obey government rules, until you can learn to abuse your body in ways the government approves of. Or, in my case, until you stop ending sentences with a preposition. Personally, that offends me much more than anyone's drug use. You see, according to the government, you're committing a crime, but you don't have a victim. Now, you may say society is the victim, but you can't have society as a victim. That just doesn't work. You need a human for victim. Only people can be victim, human beings. You see how, just with these really short examples, how we've become a nation of laws and not a nation of justice. I mean, is it justice to lock up someone if they're hurting no one but themselves just because they're taking a drug not approved by the government? Sure, they're breaking a law, but are they doing anyone an injustice? You see the difference between the two? That's what I want you to think about as you go throughout your life, for this week and your life. I don't want you to listen to this radio show and say, well, Patrick says it, so I'm going to adopt this view. No, I want to give you some ideas for you to ponder and think about, test them, argue with yourself, talk to your friends, your family, hash these ideas out and see what you like about them or what you don't like about them. But by all means, just think about it. Just don't accept it because you hear it coming from me or anybody off the radio. All right, we're up on the last break of the show this week. Unfortunately, this is a short segment coming up, but I have one or two more things I want to try and get to before we run out of time. Hold on through the next break, and we'll get going as quickly as possible here on the Patrick Regan Show and the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network.
Around the lake tonight.